Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sim Racing Online. This is it, the final round for Series 1 in the LMP2 GT3 Classic. We got a short field today, but they are all contenders, and we are in the dry desert heat of Texas. We're going to have ourselves some barbecue, some pulled pork, and whatever you can find at this amazing venue that was created. I'm your host, Rob Milliken, and our commentator, Woody here is with me, and we are the Woody and Crow Show, and we are getting ready to go here. We got about 7-8 minutes to quali. Just a couple things to touch on here. The days at 2 o'clock start. The temperature is about 23 right now. It's climbing. It's supposed to be up at around 28. Light clouds. Track temp's about 40 degrees Celsius right now. And with that said, we are just about ready to get going. Woody, how are you doing today?
I'm not doing too bad.
Very
It's
good.
nice, sunny Texas, so it's good to see a track without rain for once.
Yes. Yeah, no rain today. No rain today. It's nice and flat and hot. And 90 minutes of racing about here on this circuit of the Americas. Yeah, this is a grade 1 FIS specification, 3.426 miles or 5.514 kilometers. This place has hosted just about every type of racing in the Formula One, United States Grand Prix, the NASCAR Motorcycle Grand Prix of the Americas, MotoGP, FII World Endurance Championship, Lone Star Le Mans. I mean, all this stuff. Even the Australian V8 cars, supercars have been here. Rallycross has been here. American Le Mans Series, Rolex Sports Car Series, IMSA, so IndyCar Classic, you name it, they've been here. Pretty exciting venue, actually. A little bit unknown. I think a lot of our European drivers and stuff, they're not that keen on the U.S. tracks. But what do you know about the developer of this track? Wasn't it Tavo Holloman or something? He was the one that announced the plans.
Herman Tilke, I think he's designed many a track, and this was like a homage to a lot of corner design for tracks throughout the F1 calendar. So you'll notice that at the top of the hill part, when they go past turn 1, they'll be going through a very fast left-right section. In fact, lots of left and rights, which pays homage to Silverstone, the Maggots and Beckett's complex, and there's other parts of the circuit that still pay homage to some F1 tracks. So it's like a mix and match of circuits from the past and current circuits as well. So a little bit of elevation change. There's a multitude of blind apexes and blind crests as well. So drivers are going to have to watch out for track limits, something they disregard in the NASCAR, but we are held under the WEC rules. So drivers have got to be very careful running wide. But there is a little bit of concrete, so they should be okay.
Right on. I don't know. I was just clicking through, and so many guys have jumped in and jumped out that there's a lot of temp cars until this last 6 minutes here of practice. So they'll straighten out. So if you guys were wondering what all those blue and white LMU Porsches were, yeah, those are the temp cars, just like the old cheese car from R Factor 2. So not quite so cheesy here, but you know, you get a nice little Porsche, which is a nice twist. So I was checking out some times here of the real cars. It looks like the LMP2 track record on this, I think it's at 152.546. That's by Nick DeVarez in the Orca 07. Of course, that was in 2020. And then for the GT3s, let's see if I can find that again. Where did those guys go? Jim, no, that was the NASCAR circuits. So the GT3s, it's so small. Here we go. It was a 203.6 by Scott Blind. And that was set this year, 2026, by the Austin Apex Focus Sprint Round. So 203.6 is a real one, or the real laps, and for LMP2 it's a 152.5. So let's see how close these guys get. I mean, you can see that Westy's at a 154 right now. So they're within a couple seconds, and we will see what happens there. I'm trying to find somebody that's out on track. Matej Descobaler, he's fighting. Let's have a look at those points, Woody. I'm gonna bring the points up, and let's see. I got the GT3 scores up here. I can see Lars Hegman, Hugh Smith, Grant Jones are your top 3, and they're separated by what you could gain in a victory. go 40 points plus if you're fastest lap pole, fastest lap race, you get a point for that each. So some of these are within reach. Grant Jones won 219 and Hugh Smith 220. They're really fighting for that last step on the podium there. Grant Jones currently holding it. Lewis Middleton right behind him in 4th place with 204 points. So we will see what happens and who shows up here today. As far as the LMP2 scores go, you can see here that Philip Hickler is leading the way with 247. Nick Westy not too far behind with 212. Again, I think you had a formula who was going to pull it off if they could, Woody. I know you did all the math on this, so let's see. Tanner's 182. Lauren not going to make it today because he's pressure washing. He's got a new toy, so he's going to clean the whole neighborhood with his pressure washer. Yeah. Did you have predictions here for this round, perhaps?
Yeah, so I've put a few things in my spreadsheet. Because of the low numbers, it obviously means that drivers, if they do start the race, they still score points. You don't have to go past a certain distance for points. So if they do lap 1, then they're in for points. So it's 40 points for a win, 36 points for second, and 33 for third, and then it goes from 4th place 30 down all the way to the back of the field. I think it counts in 2. So in terms of the GT3 points, Lars Hagman, I would say he's pretty much got this in the bag. He just needs to be able to start and score some points. But I think the battle we're looking at GT3 is going to be between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 5th place is probably a little bit adrift with 187 points. So we'll be looking at the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the championship, unless anything really dramatic happens. But in terms of P2 points, it's kind of the same kind of thing. Because of our low turnout, we've only got 6 LMP2s on the circuit at the moment. So for 6th place, if I can count down, that's around 26-ish points. And even if Nick Westy scores a win, fastest lap and pole position, that would be 42 points in total. He still would be beaten by Pichler. So the battle is further down the table, only separated by about 20 or maybe even 10 points. So we'll look at those battles further down the field.
Very good, very good. Yeah, should be a nice tight battle there for those last podium positions. Yeah, the last round, here we go. It's been quite a season. 8 blistering rounds. We've had rain, we've had night, we've been to Le Mans, we've been to Spa. It's been quite the series as we that was Matej Descobelera going out up there, losing it on that turn. As we're just kind of winding it down here, just a couple of minutes left before the qualification starts. And remember that these qualifications is private, so we won't be seeing any traffic, so to say. We'll be concentrating on each driver. So
we did have quite a rate of I was going to say attrition rate in the last round. Our LMPs, we ended up with 1 or 2 on the road, just past half distance. So the attrition rate for the LMP2s, it's not been one of the favourite cars, I would say, amongst our drivers. They are quite knife edge to control. GT3s seem to be the more popular choice.
Right.
And this being the first round of the World Series, our drivers have a choice of what to do next.
Yes, and speaking of that, we do have the poll is up. So far, the request has been Hypers and GT3s for the multi-class for Series 2. But we need our drivers to all chime in. We need to get at least 10 confirmed drivers for the hypercar, and then we're going to go ahead with that. Otherwise, we're going to make it a single series. GT3, I believe, is winning that poll for the second round of the SRO 2026 World Series. I mean, this is cumulative points over the year, over 4 different series. The first 2, of course, LMU. I think we're going to R Factor 2 for the 3rd one, and the 4th one is still yet to be determined. So we will see how that goes in the future. And we've got about 50 seconds or so left here. Anything you want to add, Woody?
Well, I'd say this is, from a personal point of view, this is not one of my favoured circuits. Just the layout doesn't really suit me. So this is going to be a big challenge for our drivers in general. and as I say, private qualifying, so they don't have to worry about traffic on their fastest laps. But it's just a combination of corners. They've got to watch out for lots of late apexes, lots of times where they could run off on track limits. So there is a bit of a long lap, a 2-minute lap, kind of comparable to Spa in some ways, but they've got to be careful with track limits, because the last thing you want to do is run out wide on that last turn. 20 turns on this circuit is quite deceptive, but they're going to be watching out for track limits, because you don't want to ruin it all on the last turn and have to go again. So that's going to be very interesting to see who comes on top on quali.
Wow, yes, good stuff. So, speaking of turns, how many turns do you think there are at this place? Check it out.
So 20.
What?
Yeah, 20. It's quite deceptive thinking about there are 20 turns here, but the particularly the first section of the track, there are like 3 or 4 turns in the space of like 200-300 meters. So yeah, it's quite deceptive. But that big long back straight is going to be vital. They've got to come out of that hairpin and get a good run on that big long straight, which has got a little rise and fall in it. So they're going to be dropping down into that tight left-hander, and then it's kind of a left right from then on.
Yeah, that turn 12 is very key. I mean, a lot of overtakes right there. And another little tricky spot is 15 and 16. I have the track map up here, so you see that is a little bit of a kink, and it's really, really tough. You have to just get that thing settled down and drop most of it. There's a first gear lefty to get into the 17-18 section, where you can get a little bit on it. It's got kind of a big sweeper there. So yeah, with that said, I think the qualification session has begun. And let's get this show on the road here, so we say. See what we got. We are going to the quali times. And let's see if anybody's out there. Looks like Hugh Smith did check in, and he made it with us, so he's in his Ford. And then we got Nick Westie's already out, so let's bring the track map up, get a little bit of an idea where these guys are. See the GT3s are in green and the LMP2s are in blue on your track map there.
We do have a little bit of a change of our lineup today. One of our drivers that is normally at the front of the P2 field is decided for the last round to take a GT3 and has settled on a Lexus for the last round. So we'll see how Tony Talviti is going to compete in the GT3s this time.
Yeah. Speaking of the Lexus, we are missing one of our drivers today, so hopefully we can make it in before the session ends here. It's 15-minute qualification. So Barrett in that Lexus with his custom skin, he must have had something else going on. As Dick here with Hugh Smith on the out lap. You know, the track map, he is going to be the first one to start a lap. I could see there's an LMP2 not too far behind him there. But like I say, with it private quali, the switching through cars and stuff, it's kind of tough sometimes. Almost thought about making quali open for this final round just to see what it was like if these guys could behave. But yeah, I think it's best this way. Nobody gets their lap ruined, and we don't have any after effect.
Yeah, it becomes difficult in multi-class specifically. I think if it was single class, I don't think these drivers would worry too much, because it'd just be normal service resumed. But multi-class, it makes it a little bit complicated, because many drivers would say that my lap has been ruined by either the higher class or the lower class of cars. So
yeah, as we watch you here get through that S section of Sector 1. See, he's really on the gas there. That Mustang really got this thing dialed in. I mean, he's holding that line really well. This is a tricky turn right here, because the off camber uphill, it throws a lot of drivers off. It's very, very tricky as he makes this really tight turn. Let's see, he's got to go down to the first gear here, take as much curb as you can, and then it's that straight. So just get on it here. See what kind of top speed he can pull off here. It's getting up into the 200.
Yeah, it's a very wide long straight, and as I say, it's got a little bit of a crest in it, but it's very hard braking zone down to the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, right here. It's just look at how late he is. Just so late in there. That's why he's putting up such good times. It's just late braking. And this section in here, very, very tricky. Got this right hand, kind of double ender, and then this little bit of a kink right here, and then the hard lefty. Then it opens you up into this big sweeper here. It's kind of almost a parabolica kind of a turn where if you get it just right, you can keep your foot in it, but a little bit of a lift, and then once you get the apex, then you're all the way good. As you just saw here, he comes up hard on the brakes again. And that, get ready for that final turn 20, the pit in right there. So that's what a lap looks like in the GT3 as he comes across and sets his time of a 2:09. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And you see Descabelaire in the P2 has set a good time. And Hegman just went ahead of Smith there. Who else is going to be coming?
Drivers have got to flirt with the curbs a little. We saw that Hugh Smith was taking a really wide line into the turn just after the big long straight. And they've got to track knowledge. I think is key. You know, where you can cut the course or where you can run on the curbs to get as wide a line as possible, and where you can actually run over some of the rumble strips and possibly hitting the sausage curbs as well. But some of the corners being double apexes, you gotta pick the right line, and it can be a little bit deceptive of where you've got to cut in to the apex. So particularly the last section, there is a double apex right-hander, which leads to the last part. But turn 19, I think, is crucial. They're coming down to the last part of the lap. They've really got to nail that and not go wide, because that will be lap over.
Yes, we've seen that as frequently. One of the other version of this track, the NASCAR version of this track, it's a lot of guys just haven't really tried this track. They just don't know. I think they're just turned off already because it's a U.S. track. I have no idea, but I put up the national version, the NASCAR version, and the server filled up, and guys were commenting like, "Man, I've never driven this track. This is really fun." Especially that NASCAR gives you a little bit of a more ester. You miss that whole back section with the hairpin down to the long straight. It cuts that off, but you have a kind of a really cool S pattern sweepers to get right back into where Sector 3 starts. So it's really a lot of fun once you get behind it.
If you're used to the GP circuit, then suddenly having to cut in for the NASCAR layout, which it's very sudden where the cut in is. It's a very awkward chicane as well. It seemed to kind of go over a large bump in the middle, but this big long straight is going to play into the hands of lapping cars. So they've got space to come around the GT3s, and obviously battling between the cars in the same class as well. So I'm looking forward to the slipstream and battles down the back straight.
Yeah, should be very exciting. Kind of interesting that these guys are 3 or 4 seconds off of that Scott Blind actual 2:03.6. These guys are in the 2:08 is leading. If I'm seeing that right. A little bit of something I noticed in there.
Yeah, so 2:08.6 for the GT3s and 1:54.8 for the P2s. So it does look like Descabelaire in the P2s has got about a 2-second gap on his next challenger, Robin Taylor. So the rest of the field have a little bit of chasing to do, but we have seen some qualifying specialists. As I say, that Pichler pops into second place, only about 3 tenths away from pole, so I'm eating my words already. So we haven't got any different weather patterns today, which should put off some of the drivers, but we've had some good battles throughout the season with these guys.
Yeah, it's been fun. The grids are light. Yeah, I mean, the first couple of races we had some pretty good numbers, but it is getting summertime here where I am. I don't know how it is for you guys, but real life.
Well, I'm in the UK, so it's never summertime.
That's
I don't know
right.
what you're talking about.
You live in a gray area of moisture. Yeah.
Summertime is overcast. Wintertime is overcast.
All right, let's see. I'm trying to see who is coming up on a fast lap. It says Bjorn Hagman. Did I find him? No. I'm looking for, trying to figure this out sector-wise so I can tell from the track map, but I have completely screwed it up. I'm looking for those guys up front. There it was. It was Hugh Smith. So Smith does get himself. He's in second place still. Just that, what, 1/100th, 1.118 back of that Hagman's lap. And then half a second back is Middleton.
So a reminder to viewers that don't check out Sim Racing Online, the rules that we have in this series for qualifying specifically, our drivers do need to go out for their out lap, they do their fast lap, and they do their in lap as well. It makes it feel a bit more realistic, I suppose, and it stops people stopping out on track.
Yeah.
They've screwed up their lap. So if you screw it up and you unfortunately hit the wall and you can't get back to the pits, that's your qualification over.
Yes, that is a rule that we've kept forever. Uh-oh. It seems like Andrew Harper has been disqualified from this session. So what in the heavens to Betsy could have happened to him? I see. Qualify one. Let's see. Let's check out the replay. See if anything happened. What if we can make out what happened here? Checking on Andrew. What possibly could have disqualified him? Lag. That was some serious lag right there. That's right. You got to have bandwidth to race here. We're gonna kick you out. No, I'm kidding.
It may have been that perhaps the lag made him go over some track limits quite significantly.
Yeah, that could have been it.
It's the only thing I could think of for a disqualification, unless he had a penalty, perhaps a pit penalty, speeding or something, and he didn't serve that penalty during his session. Then that's another possibility. It's very easy to speed on pit lane. Surprisingly, because the pit lane's uphill. You would think it would be not that easy, but revving out the pits, it's very strict as well. So just a blip over the limit, because you don't get a lot of acceleration when you're on the speed limiter. So drivers have got to be very careful with that.
Down the list here, we've just got about just under 4 minutes remaining here, so these will be the last chance to dance here for these guys, trying to get themselves up there. Let's see, Lars still leading. He's on another outlap. He just came in, probably put some fresh tires on for his last push here. Hugh Smith is about just leaving sector 1 now, but he's yellow. So Lewis Middleton parking it. Bjorn Hagman.
So I think Nick Westy hasn't got a representative time on the board. So second place in the championship. He has got a personal best in the second sector, and he goes purple in the third.
Let's check it out here.
Himself back up to second place, 154.2. So only 1/10 away from Dats Cobbler on provisional pole.
Yeah,
so he's close up the front with the P2s for the front row.
Very, very good. Yes, at .101, that's a blink of an eye right there. So Westy's flexing his muscles there a little bit. Where is Pichler in all this? Our Mr. Steady, Pichler, off a little bit, sector 1. Tony Talvitier in the Lexus got himself into 5th. And he's a little bit off in the middle sector, but it's still better by his sector 1 time was down a 10th. But the whole lap is up a minute. Okay, so not his best effort. Let's Stefan Winham is in. He's in a temp car because he came in late. And Gilles De Silva right there in his McLaren. He's parked. We've got Dayton Tasker driving that Merc. All right, who's coming across the line here? Is that Pichler?
So I'm unsure now that Harper is at disqualification. I'm unsure whether the game is actually going to group the car classes together. So he may actually be at the back of the GT3 field. So we're going to have to watch for that when they get going again. That would be a little bit awkward for Andrew Harper because he's going to have to make his way through about 11 GT3s to even get to back of the P2. So we'll watch out for that.
Yeah, interesting to see if the game can pull that off. It's something that's always happened. Multi-class racing with these simulators. They might bury him in the back. I mean, it might be a pit lane start. I could see that happening, but we'll see.
I think in real life, it's up to the race director's discretion. I mean, it works out in safety precautions wise. You don't really want a faster car starting behind the slower cars rolling to the grid. So hopefully it works out in the game as well as it worked out in real life.
Last few seconds here of quali. Any challengers for the GT3 section of this? I'm trying to see here.
So I think Hugh Smith is not actually going to make... he's coming down to the penultimate corner with 8 seconds to go, so he's not going to get another lap in. And others behind him are not going to get another lap in either. So
he's given up
like
on
we
that
are
lap.
pretty much set.
Yeah, who's still left out there? Just a couple GT3s. Is that Bacon still out there? Stefan Winham in the temp car. Okay, no big deal there. And Bjorn Hegman giving it one last effort here. He's the last one out there on a time lap. Oh, and he's
pulling off.
Throwing it in. All right, very good. With that, so now I can set the grid. I think we are good to go. Grid is set. All right, so we got a couple of about 90 seconds here for the session to change. See if this grid will this is all, this beta overlay program is super cool, so we're giving it a shot here. Another update came. So row 1, you just saw. Row 2 is Fischler and Taylor, as we saw Matej and Nick Wisty up top. Then row 3 we have Tanner Selby and Andrew Harper. So it did put him in there. So starting with the GT3s, row 4 is Hegman, Hugh Smith, Lewis Middleton, Tony Talvitier, and then Bjorn Hegman. Simon Bacon are bringing up the 12th row. And then we have Jones and Bateson, 13th and 14th.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race.
Winham and Da Silva bringing up the rear there. So there we have it. Good enough, good enough. All right. We are just about ready to get going here. As they're starting to jump on the grid, and it looks like Andrew is going to be, I think he's going to be placed in the proper spot, maybe. It's got him up top. There, now it's...
Yeah, just look like he's at the back of the P2 field, so that's one less thing for Andrew to worry about. We'll have to maybe ask at the end how he got DQ'd, but he's at the back. You can see the whole field in front of him, so you can gauge his pace from there, I guess. But that's Gobbler out in front. He hasn't taken part in many races this season. He's only been here for 4 rounds. First round and then rounds 5, 6, and 7, and he won every single round from 5, 6, and 7. So can he repeat that today?
That's crazy business. All right, well, they're starting back here for the half warm-up lap. They're just about ready to go as the clock is running down.
Formation lap has started.
So we should be starting around turn 17, I think. So a few corners to go before they get going.
Right. You can see the time of day there. It's 2 o'clock Texas time. As we get ready, set for 90 minutes. This is where it gets going. This is when the nerves start rattling. These guys are preparing themselves for the start. The most crucial part, of course, is this start, this first lap. Let's hope everybody can get through and not have any incidents. Are your drivers? They are coming down to turn 20 here. And we are getting ready to go green.
Green flag.
And they are off. Looks like a really good start for Matej. And that is Nick Westy holding his spot there. Really tight there with Pichler as they got to set themselves up. And it looks like Westy gets the inside move on Pichler there for turn 1. They get through this. Oh, hello. A little bit of a pause there. And LMPs are getting through. GT3s right behind them. We've already got
a stunning start from Lewis Middleton up from, I think it was on row 3. He's been able to get his AMG GT3 Mercedes in front of Hugh Smith and Pulsar Hagman, so he's now leading the pack.
He has just taken it on the lap. That's just going on around here now. But look at that. You had something to say about that and took it right back from him. These guys are bunching up back in the back there. Really good start. But then Hugh Smith just flexed his muscles there in that Mustang and got himself up. Very good. Talvitie in the Lexus. Hold a position there, going around the McLaren. I believe that is the McLaren of Grant Jones. And he's got Hegman right in front of him. Back to the pointy end, we got Westy. Second place, Pichler. Third, Robin Taylor. Fourth, as they're already starting to spread out a little bit here. This is going to be a pace race, 90 minutes. Hopefully these guys can finish all healthy. It would be absolutely amazing. And a first. If we could get all 6 of these LMP2s to finish for the last round, that's a victory right there. All right.
Yeah, lots of side-by-side running for these guys through the first few turns, and very clean driving as well. I haven't seen any yellow flags. As I say, the top 2 of the P2s are away and pulling out a little bit of a gap. But the GT3s are all nose to tail. There is a couple of stragglers at the back, 9th and 10th of I believe that's De Silva and Wenham, but the rest of them are battling nose to tail. There is normally a bit of a flurry of activity at the start, and then it seems to settle down a bit once people have warmed up their tyres. But some good racing out there.
Yeah, and Hugh Smith proving his techniques, paying off with the 2:15, leading the first purple lap. I'm sure those times are going to start coming down as the fuel goes down. We do have a replay of Grant Jones and Tony Talvitie, the overtake here. Let's take a look at that. Let's see how that went down. Yay, this is that first lap. And there is Jones on the outside. Talvitie stays on the inside. A little bit of contact there. Just a little bit of a rub. Gave Talvitie that position there, so very good.
Yeah, lots of differing lines. You saw that Grant Jones was taking a really significant different line from Tony. Maybe trying to show himself in the mirrors to put him off a little, but because there's lots of wide apexes and wide entries to some of these corners. Drivers have got to be very careful that drivers are going to be cutting into the apex and probably washing wide a little. But side by side through the first few turns is completely viable.
We just saw that.
The GT3s are now spreading out a little.
Right. Hegman just passed Lewis, so Middleton had that brilliant start, was just in second, and just gave that up to Lars Hegman in that Lambo, taking over second place, and then brother Bjorn right there. So Middleton is in a Hegman sandwich right there.
Yeah,
West.
we have seen Lewis Middleton making some good starts this season. He has won a race this season as well. I believe it was round 3. But sometimes he's been the cork in the bottle, because I think he's been struggling maybe with a little bit of handling problems. But he's right on the tail of Hagman coming up to the end of the lap.
I'm staying with him there. Look at that lead that Hugh Smith is just taking off in front of these guys. He's got a 3-second gap already back to Hagman, so he is just putting the screws to it. Meanwhile, Andrew Harper with his beautiful custom skin, and he's such a great painter. Always comes up with some really, really good stuff. Glad to see him in there. He's about 6 seconds off the pace, though, with the rest of the gap. But hey, he's here. He's a contender. He's in the field. All he's got to do is finish and get some points. It's a good shape. Tanner Sylvie actually wasn't he our Le Mans winner?
Yes, when we had a Le Mans special edition Rain Fest, night race, whatever you call it.
Right.
That was a 2-hour special.
The light
he
rain.
Did really well there.
Yeah, it was light rain that turned into a monsoon, if I remember correctly. Guys are hanging out here. We got a little bit of action going on with these two. Fischler holding off Taylor, and then you can see just above, Westy has actually caught to the back of Descobelaire. So Westy, who did set that fastest lap, putting a little bit of pressure on him.
Yeah, I think Westy has had some good pace this season, but unfortunately he's had some awful races to go along with it. He's had some, I suppose, some of the variable weather races that we've had. He's unfortunately had some accidents which have knocked him back a bit, which has meant dropping some points, which is why Pichler has been a bit more consistent and been able to pull out a little bit of a points lead. But I think Westy trying to make up for it today. This is probably a circuit he knows quite well. Maybe trying to take Descobelaere's what would be 4th on the bounce maximum point score. But we know for a fact that Descobelaere's got that point for pole position already in the bag, as does Lars Hagman for the GT3 pole position. But it's just a matter of where they finish and who has the fastest lap of the race also.
As we watch Westy here trying to stay with Descobelaere. Great view here on board with Nick Westy, making through this really tricky technical section. This right here is one of the toughest turns on the track right there. Then you get into this semi-parabolic. If you get it just right, you can really take advantage. Head down the straight.
So currently Robin Taylor holding off championship leader Pichler. Is doing a really good job. He's only been here for 3 races of the 8 that we've had so far, starting in round 4. As he got the maximum point. He got a podium last time out in round 7. So perhaps he would like to keep that going. He's currently on the last step of the podium at the moment. So holding off the championship leader, but I guess in the championship leader's probably not thinking about podiums. He's just thinking about points, because he could come away with a championship win today.
Yes, they could do it for him. More celebration in order. He's still probably hungover from his 2025 World Series victory. But nonetheless, he's got his work cut out for him here. Closing in the GT battle here. This guy's right in the middle. Let's check on Middleton. See how he's doing. Third place.
So Hagman and Middleton have spaced out a little, but Bjorn Hagman and that noisy Lexus behind him. Oh,
Yeah.
Chinatown video. It's very distinctive.
Yes.
That you know that a Lexus is around because you can hear it.
Trying to hang on. Now remember, 90 minutes of racing. So these guys at this point of the race, you know, I would assume they're just getting comfortable, and now they're kind of like, can I preserve the rubber? I don't want to use up all my fuel. They're definitely going to have to stop. And with all these turns, all these 20 turns, I would think it might be a little bit hard on tires. Have to see how they hold up.
So if you're not familiar with WEC, the tyres can be a little bit confusing in terms of if they were compared to other series. So we do have softs, mediums and hards for the GT3s, but it's not in terms of tyre life, I believe. It's more in terms of what temperatures of the track you want to be dealing with. So if you're using your softs, that's for a hot track temperature. I believe it's that way around. And obviously a hard tyre. No, actually, maybe it's the other way around. maybe it's the soft tyre for a cold track temperature. You want it to heat up quite fast. But it's more to do with track temperature rather than tyre life. But medium seems to be the way to go for these guys.
Yeah, it's interesting how the sport has evolved that way, where, you know, before they were never thinking about what type of tire. I mean, give me some tires, let's go, we're racing. Now it's such a science. As we are on board here with Gilles de Silva. We're just kind of going up the line here. Stephen Winham currently in 15th overall, 9th in class in that Ford Mustang. Stuff there. Then Ollie Bateson currently in 8th. Just keeping him in the zip code there. As we see the leaders coming up on the GT3s now, so we're going to make our first lap passes here as the Protos get through, and it gets a little tight there. The leader going through with Westy right behind him. Yes, biding their time through the traffic. Very nicely done. Escape that.
Yeah, it's quite easy to go side by side through the first part of the circuit and at the last part of the circuit. The GTs just have to stay on their line, and the Protos can take that wide line all the way around nice and safely. So probably a bit of a shock for the GTs when these P2s come at a rate of knots, but it's probably better than if they were hypercars, I can bet you that.
Yeah, right. As we see the second group, this is the third and fourth position PT getting through that. Gilles de Silva, I believe, in the McLaren. As they've got through nicely. It looks like the GT3 class, World Telvitier, staying right there with Bjorn, keeping him honest. His best lap in that Lexus is a 2:10. Our best lap by the leader there, Hugh, is a 2:08. So he's a couple seconds off the pace, his Telvitier. Was a good challenge for Tony. I mean, Tony's a gamer, man. This guy, there's no stopping this guy when he's on. So it's really cool to see him in perhaps maybe not the ideal car for the situation. He's not the GOAT for sure, but he's making it work with that Lexus. See if he can get himself up there. He's going to really have to use his racecraft with that machine and move himself up.
Yeah, I'd say the prototypes do take a different style of driving, and if you're not used to like a car stuck to the track, it can be very, very difficult when you're used to a car which has perhaps got a little more roll, like these GT3 cars. But they do have ABS and traction control just to help. You don't want to be dipping into the ABS too much, and you don't want to be relying too much on that traction control either. But you can. It looks like from these two that you can race quite close through the first section of this track. I can't imagine that these front tyres are going to be liking that very much.
No.
But, drivers have got to be wary about their fuel loads. Is there really going to be fuel saving? We only expect I think one stop in this, Rob.
Touch base with Simon Bacon here. Where is Simon? Currently in 6th with Grant Jones right behind him. Jones looking for a way to get around perhaps, but holding his own there. Meanwhile, to the pointy end, there's your gap to the lead.
It did look like Grant Jones has spun around. Unfortunately, he's dropped down to 8th place, but he's got going again. I can't think that those tyres are going to be in the best of shape after a little spin just on the back straight, so it must have looped it around just coming out of the the turn just for the back straight. He's letting some PT through.
Yeah, that was Taylor and
catching up to do now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Was that the Grant Jones possible contact? I'm looking. It's an overtake. Oh, here it is right now. Let's take a look at that. We can see the replay of Grant's spin here with our cool new replay feature. So he's coming out. He's right there. And he just loses it. Just goes right around. So that was unfortunate. Like I said, he got it. Oh, a little bit of contact with the wall there too. So I hope he didn't damage his rear wing. He saw he had a little bit of contact there.
That was exceedingly lucky that rear wing didn't come off as well.
Yeah,
it's very vulnerable.
And you can see he is
the arm code. So.
Yeah, he's pitting now. He is in the pits. I'm assuming for the damage. But back out on that. So meanwhile, Westy trying to close in. As you can see him attached, he's starting to pull away a little bit. Got it up to
very comparable in best lap time, 155.7 and 155.6 for Das Cobbler and Westy respectively. But now that Westy has dropped back a bit, maybe he's able to put some better lap times in. The downforce isn't affected by the car in front. So he's got some purple sectors this time around, so maybe a fast lap coming for Nick Westy. But again, it could be due to traffic and where they meet the traffic as well.
You can see he's down to 50% on fuel. So the LMP cars are straight up fuel. They don't have to use the energy like the other ones.
It is just a fuel tank, but the virtual energy can be confusing if you're dealing with it for the first time. Even I don't understand it fully. It's a mixture of it's the way they balance the cars in the real field.
Correct.
So virtual energy is not technically fuel. It's yeah, I'll have to look it up. It's it's confusing to actually explain.
It's rocket science. It's basically rocket science. I mean, they're measuring the weight of vapor and the consumption rate of each car, and so it's like, hey, guess what? You only get so much real fuel because we're going to balance you out to this other car. And like you said, you need to read a few paragraphs to get your grasp on it. As we're looking, as Tony is looking for a way, he got him, and then the LMP2 is coming through. So Tal VTA stuck his nose in there for a minute.
Yeah, you can use the P2s as a little bit of a pick as well. So if you can follow them through, if they run one of your opponent wide, perhaps you could sneak through with the P2 at times. But
well, the bummer was
playing earlier. It's safe.
He did. It worked out better for Hegman that time as he was right with him, but then through the traffic, Tony fell back. You can see now his gap is increased a little bit, almost 1.2, but where exactly he is doing better in the sectors here, I'm trying to look. He's really good in Sector 2. And the leader's Sector 2 time is the best, of course. Sector 136 sectors, they're all in the 36s for Sector 1 until you get down to Tony, who's in the 38. So that part, I think Sector 1 is killing him a little bit there.
Hugh Smith at the moment is running away with this now. He's got a clear track ahead of him. He didn't stay behind Lewis Middleton for very long at the start. I guess he wanted some clear air so he could set some fast lap times. So he's the fastest GT3 out on the circuit at the moment with a 208.7, but he's currently putting a couple of purple sectors together. And if that P2 doesn't get involved with his lap, he's probably going to do an even faster lap coming to the line. Doesn't look like it's going to hinder him too much. He's be able to take his apex through 19, but this P2 might get in the way of the apex of 20. In fact, no, it doesn't. He's able to meet the apex for 20, so let's see what kind of lap time he's going to do. It should be less than a 208.7.
Actually, they mentioned that
around 208.7.
Let's go back to that lap, to that first lap. I'm going to try Felipe right here. That first lap where that Middleton was just out. Here's the start. They're going up the hill. Look at that start that Middleton has. This Smith almost gets blasted down to third, but just gets on the outside. Middleton on the inside. The LMU P2's there, so the inside track gave Middleton that lead, and then Hugh takes it right back on the inside there. So something to behold there. But like you say, Hugh Smith is he's lighting this place up.
Yeah, so Hugh Smith is his best position this season. Just looking at the table, he's managed to get at least, I believe that's 3 second places and 2 thirds. So he's always been there or thereabouts. His finish, I think, was about 6th place. That was in round 3. All those points have made up in the end to being second in the championship. So a good consistent run. And being here for every single round obviously helps, but Lars Hagman has put in some absolutely stunning drives this season. I think he started out in the Porsche, but has ended up in the Lamborghini for the rest of the season. So it's good running from Lars Hagman, but at the moment he's in 2nd place, but still doing what he needs to do for the championship.
Yeah. Well, Nick Westy, excuse me, holding on. That 155 is his best lap. 155.7. He does have the fastest lap of the race. 155.671 versus the 155.734. So they're just hundredths apart. But Scabalaire has that lead still. So it's one thing running as fast as him. It's another thing to get in front of him and run those laps. So Scabalaire just staying strong. Just led every lap so far. And Grant Jones is out. We've lost our first driver. Let's see if
that's actually 3rd in the championship as well. So Grant Jones, he was vying with Hugh Smith for 2nd place in the championship. So that's pretty much settled.
Let's see if we can
Jones
find out.
Will not take 2nd in the championship.
Let's see if we can find out what happened to him. I got a replay here. He brought out a yellow. Let's see if this will show us what might have happened there. Because he lost it that one time, and is it the same spin again where he hits the? Because he went into the pits for this. Yeah, that's the same one, isn't it? And then he went into the pits. So nothing new there. So meanwhile, guys. The leader's getting back through. I believe that is De Silva. And here comes Westy right behind him.
So if I've done my points correctly, Grant Jones will score 18 points this round. So it is some points. So he may be able to stay ahead of Lewis Middleton, depending on what happens. I don't like to kind of fill in my spreadsheet too early because I seem to curse our drivers without meaning to. But
yeah, no cursing.
Only towards the end I like to fill it in. But we normally have like a lull in the middle, and then suddenly we have this last 15 minutes of absolute action where we have ding-dong battles. But it's looking good so far. Just about over an hour of racing to go to the pit stop phase.
Harper's still in it. Good to see Andrew. Way through the field. Fischler. 156.5. So he's just a little bit off pace of the leaders, but he's really consistently hanging there with Taylor. Then we got Tanner. Best lap is a 157.6, but with his last lap being a 158, so staying with pace if he's getting through. I believe that's Hugh Smith right there. Getting around. Hugh Smith staying on the line, and Tanner. What he's supposed to do, get around. Done.
I'm not seeing anything dramatic in difference, rather, of virtual energy, at least for the GT3s. Everyone's running a very similar pace and similar consumption as well, around the 56-57% of virtual energy at the moment, and it's very comparable to the P2s. But we're going to have to see how busy it's going to be in pit lane. There are collisions in the pit lane for some of these drivers, so we're going to have to see what happens around the pit stop phase. If everyone's going to be coming in around about the same lap, we could expect people coming in around about half distance, but just have to see. We've got about 15 minutes to go, 15-20 minutes to go before that happens. It always shakes things up when pit stops are concerned.
Right, another exciting time. Now look at this lead that she's almost 10 seconds out front now. That's just this pace, this consistency. It's just so good. He's just got that Mustang.
It's a Ford, and it's in the US.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a fix. I don't know.
I did see a Chevy out in practice that was Talavitier was actually driving the Corvette to start with. He was just checking it out. Like I said, he did cross over from the LMP2s in the last race to the GT3s. So he's trying all the cars. We were hoping to see a Corvette out here, but he immediately dumped the Corvette. And then he tried the Porsche, and then he settled on that Lexus. As we watch Hugh Smith take this Sector 1. And this is where he is so good right here. Oh, and he got a little bit of trouble there as he's coming up. I believe that's Gilles de Silva up there in the McLaren. So he'll be putting him a lap down here. What a great run.
It looks like
right here.
the closest battle on track at the moment is the P2 battle between third and fourth. They haven't left each other alone. Robin Taylor is still being shadowed by Pichler. And I wonder whether Pichler's playing the long game, as I said earlier.
Well,
it doesn't look like we're not seeing any locked tyres, we're not seeing any drama. Just drivers making their way through these GT3s without too much hassle. As I say, this circuit does breed, because some of the wide turns and the left-right nature, multi-class racing, you can just go side by side without too much. But they have not left each other alone. It's within 1 second gap. So
yeah.
He does think about having to move up to turn 1, but taking far too much curve in turn 1 and hopping over that sausage. That's probably not very comfortable.
No, but as you said, he's very consistent, and that's what won him the 2025 championship. Was he just hung around in every race and was very consistent. And like you said, I think he is probably on a mission. He's hitting his marks. Down into first gear there. That is such a tricky turn, as we talked about earlier, that especially in traffic when you're racing right there, that uphill off-cambered lefty down onto the other side of the track where it kind of tilts away. It's really tough. Let's see if he can, what he does here on this straight. He can gain anything. Like Taylor's hitches a little bit in the braking zone there. Tricky section. You have to really be brave in this section right here. You have to test the car. You need a lot of practice here, because once you figure that section out, you can actually get on the gas a little bit, but it's so treacherous looking, and while you're actually physically turning the wheel of the car, there's no way I can make this I have to slow down. So there's that factor.
Yeah, a lot of confidence corners where you just have to kind of pray that the car's going to stick. You have to aim for an apex that just isn't there. A lot of blind apexes in that final section, but I was just looking behind that battle for third and fourth. Tanner Selby seems to be plugging away in fifth place, but seems to be a little bit off the pace today, which is quite surprising.
Right.
Lap times are in the 157s. He's not far off the pace. No, 158s rather. So leaders' lap times are in the 156s. So a little bit off the pace today. Maybe COTA is not his speciality today.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think a lot of these drivers they just don't race it that much. They don't think that they like it. But maybe after today, they might change their minds. I know I've witnessed it. I've had that, the AC Evo Ace server that we have up at Sim Racing Online. I have this track up, and some guys were driving it for the first time. Euro guys were just like, I've never driven this track, and then they really liked it. So I'm hoping that effect passes over. It really is a challenge.
Out of our 8 rounds we've had for this series, there's still a lot more. Oopsie daisy, as Tanner Selby hits a GT3 coming through that last section.
That's not going to feel good.
That's a 3-point turn in the middle of the circuit. That's very uncomfortable.
That was Stefan Winham.
Going again.
Well, we certainly don't need to go to the replay for that one. We had it right there live as they get back going again. That was most unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like that over the hill section, as you were saying, Rob, there is really only one line for the GT3. They can't really go any wider of that apex. And I think Tanner looked like he came upon that GT3 faster than he probably wanted to. And unfortunately, he just got into his rear quarter. But it doesn't look like either of them are damaged. So, no damage on Tanner Selby's car, it looks like. And I believe that Stefan Winham got going again. So that's all good. But what's saying about the tracks, we did have 8 rounds this season. We had Spa, Fuji, Monza, Le Mans, Bahrain, Algarve, which is sometimes referred to as Portimao, and then we had Sebring the last round, and COTA this round. But there's still a lot on the calendar that could be chosen from, so we were missing out perhaps the Imola. That's sometimes a bit of a favourite. We also got, I'm just trying to think down my list, there's some different layouts on some of these tracks as well. So we were talking about the NASCAR layout of this track.
Yes, we've got multiple.
The Monza circuit, which misses out the first part of the chicane. We've also got Bahrain, which has the outer layout, which I think a lot of drivers prefer because it's a bit faster. You don't kind of go through the infield and slow down some of those chicanes, so that might be an option. But I don't think we were doing the Sebring school layout. That probably is a bit too small.
Right. Our GT3, perhaps, or GTEs, that works out pretty good. It is a little bit small. But yeah, we will be seeing those in the next round of races. Those will Imola, and also we might try that outer Bahrain because it is a little bit different. And the no chicane Monza, wow, that I've raced it, and you just get to keep your foot in it, right?
Yeah, so it's a little scarier than you think because you're coming into that what would be turn 3 at full blast rather than at half speed. So
right,
you got to prepare yourself for it.
Right, Curva Grande or whatever they call one of those. I can't remember at this point.
Yeah.
Back here at Bjorn, got Tony Talvitier has gotten around Bjorn. Was that an overtake? Get down here.
So it looks like Tony was able to get him on the back straight. Quite a simple pass in the end, I think.
Yeah, they don't
slipstream down straight.
I don't have it on the replay.
It should be around about lap 10. It looks like lap 10 he was able to get past.
Here we go. Let's try it. See if this is it. Yes, here we go. As you said, it's almost as if Hagman was like, okay, you're faster than me. I'm just going to let you go, not cook my tires, and I'm going to come back and get you on the replay as the race continues. As we are under the first hour has expired, and we are back down into the last 50 some odd minutes of this race. So, as you said, very uneventful overtake, but an overtake nonetheless.
Yeah, it is where I'd imagine some of the overtakes would happen at the end of the straight. Again, that straight is quite large in comparison to some of the other straights on tracks we've had recently. But the entry to turn 12 is so wide that if you come out of the slipstream and you head to what would be the apex, it's a bit of a late apex, I think. The guy on the outside just has to kind of wait for the other guy to turn in before he can turn in. So it's sometimes a little bit after you.
Yeah.
But again, you can go side by side if you feel like you've got your nose in front, and then continue through that last section side by side. So I don't think these drivers at this stage, just under an hour, 54 minutes to go, I don't think they're possibly feeling that they want to do some side by side racing.
Guys making their way through I think that's the third place car of Lewis Middleton in that Mercedes there. As the P2 leaders are coming through. He goes around the outside, and a really hairy spot there. I wasn't expecting that. But like you said, it's nice and wide, so there is plenty of room for these guys.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the gap between fourth and third. It's only 2.8 seconds at the moment, so I think now that Tony has got past Bjorn Hagman, is he now unleashed and closing on Middleton? Could this last step on the podium be under threat?
Well, his best lap is so far is a 2:10, and the 2:08 for the leaders, so I don't have a time for his last lap, but if I know Tony, he's figuring this thing out. It's amount of time. Well, we have another. Tanner Selby is out of the race. What a bummer. We lost another one. All right. He was having some connection issues that I don't know if he knew about him or not, but he was really lagging during the practice session. So I don't know if
that's possibly a technical problem, I think, because I'm not seeing anything on the list that would say that he had a crash or anything. So that's unfortunate. He is one of our drivers from Turkey, so some drivers from overseas do have problems with connections to these hosted servers. So he is able to reconnect to the race if his connection comes back, but that's disappointing for Tanner Selby.
I have a replay from lap 18, which I think was what's happened. Let's see if this will tell us anything. Here he is, and I think he's coming up with Andrew. I think there's something to do with Andrew, but see, okay, there's the lag. See what I'm talking about? That I'm sure it was, not anything except that messing him up there.
It's always a bit frustrating when things like that happen out of your control, but let's see if he perhaps wants to get back in the race. There are only 5 LMPs, and anything can happen in the next 52 minutes.
Oh man, I think Woody, I think we set a record. We've got 5 LMPs into the first hour. So the first half hour, 5 of them survived. So over the last couple of races, that's something to say. Unfortunately. See these little battle bots.
Yeah, I think you were especially kind that you didn't put wet weather in Texas.
Nah. Yeah. So second place in GT3 right here. Heckman. Such a gap. Let's see. Look at that. 14 seconds between first and second, then 11 between second and third, 4 between fourth and third. So, on there.
So we're possibly looking at pit stops around 24 seconds or so. It maybe a little bit more. I mean, the entrance and the exit of pit lane are quite short at Circuit of the Americas, and you see that turn 1 exits right into the apex of turn 1. So drivers have got to be very wary of cars coming out of the pits and knowing that there might be a car on the apex when they get there, but you'll come out of turn 19 to the pit entry and have to slow down quite dramatically for quite a tight pit entry, but it's quite a straight in and out. Other than that, drivers are not going to be sat in the pits for very long, as opposed to some of the other circuits we've been to. So we're still waiting for our first drivers to come in the pits. It's nearly around about that time, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm waiting for you. Let's see if we get to the energy. So everybody's looking pretty good on energy for the GT3s anyway. They're all pretty equal. Look at that. Unless that's a glitch. Oh, 30.
Possibly got about 5-10 minutes left, so they're possibly past half distance. But we'll have to see if they... I don't think there need to be any fuel saving for a one-stopper. But it's always interesting to see what kind of strategies people decide to do, because I think this season we've had a few people that have decided to do something a little different with a little bit of a two-stopper. But we did have rain involved in some of the strategy for some of the rounds this season, which has messed things... Well, I was going to say mixed things up, rather messed things up, but in some ways it did mess a few people up because the rain came at completely the wrong time for a few people that had only just pitted for their stint, so it was very unfortunate.
Well, the game has Tanner Selby still in the garage, so like you said, there's a chance he might be able to rejoin. It doesn't have him as a DNF yet, so if he can climb back into this thing. I can bring up my...
Yeah, that normally suggests it's possibly a disconnection rather than someone pressing the escape button, because Grant Jones would have possibly be a DNF because he said return to garage, so... So even though we've only got 5 P2s on the circuit at the moment, and remember these are the ELMS P2s, which are the unrestricted versions of the P2s, which means they have up to about 600 horsepower. They're a bit faster than the Le Mans versions of the P2s, and I think they are a driver's favourite just because they are better against some of the GT3s, so you have a bit more of a chance of passing them a bit easier. But 5 on the road, and they're not too far apart from each other, apart from maybe Harper that's a bit way down, but only 4 or 5 seconds, 6 or 7 seconds between some of these P2s, and it just takes a little bit of a mistake for 1 or 2 of them, and that will close them right back up again.
Stuff. So well, there's check on Westy's second place.
I did think that when Westy dropped back a bit that he'd be putting in fast times, but Dan Skobler in the lead is 156.4 that last time around, and Westy doing a 157. So Dan Skobler's got a handle on this P2 car. As I say, he's got the run going for perhaps getting the 4th. Is it the 4th in a row? Maximum point score. Yes. So he's starting round 5, 6 and 7 as wins with maximum points for poles and fastest lap. So Dan Skobler is... I mean, he would have even more points if he had started at round 1. So an absolute dominant showing so far. I am having a look at some of the fuel numbers for some of the GT3s, and it looks like Hugh Smith in first, Lewis Middleton and Tony Talviti have been slightly more aggressive on their fuel or their virtual energy in the first portion of this race. So I don't know whether that means that it will be more difficult in the latter half of this race, but using slightly more virtual energy than the rest, maybe being a bit more aggressive on the throttle, just not saving as much, but it may swing in roundabouts. They might just be filling up and going for a final sprint at the end of this race, and fireworks will start to happen. Let's hope.
Yes. Getting back through. Got a little bit of dust. Somebody went off. I saw a cloud of dust. It could have been, that might have been when Gil De Silva there was going through. The P2s were getting through him. I think he just went up. I'm sorry, I just saw a giant cloud of dust. That's following the leaders here. We are watching Robin Taylor. And he's pulling in. So here we go. First one in is Taylor pulling into the pit. So we shall see what kind of a lap time that puts him on. That puts Pichler into third place. He's now coming up on Gil De Silva in that McLaren.
So they weren't spaced by that much when Taylor came into the pits. So is the undercut going to work?
Yeah.
Get a fresh set of boots. He's going to come out with probably 100% fuel or 100% energy. That's fuel for these.
Yeah.
It's 100% fuel.
Right.
So coming out the pits, if he was able to save some fuel, it means they put less in for the last portion of the race. So that would be an option. But he was battling between Pichler and himself. So we'll have to see what happens when Pichler comes into the pits.
Right. Taylor still in there.
He's down and away, so that's a long pit stop. Look at him on the track map. Pichler is on the back straight at the moment as Taylor is coming out the pit, so it's about half a lap you're going to lose by the time you come out the pit, so that's about a minute or so.
And it looks like he's got just 50% fuel. He's got a half a tank there. He's just topped off to finish this last 43 minutes. As you can see now, the GT3, Hugh Smith into the red with his energy remaining here, as well as Middleton.
Simon Bacon is the first to come in the pits for the GTs.
All right, Bacon is in. All right. Smith and Middleton just down to around that 10% energy remaining, as well as Salvite, so they will be coming in next.
So relatively clear, short pit stop for the GTs, it seems. Simon Bacon's already coming out the pits.
Guys, right ahead of Tony. We're the Middleton and Hagman battle. Not much. We got that in between car. I guess that is Simon Bacon right there. No, it was Winham, Stefan Winham.
That'd be Stefan Winham.
Yeah. Okay. Threw me off for a minute there. I thought. All right.
Yeah, that gap. I was watching the gap between Salviti and Middleton. It went up to about 4 seconds after I mentioned it, so I gave him a little bit of a curse, but then must have been a little mistake. But it's now come down to 2 seconds. So perhaps Tony is now pushing just before his pit stop. But again, he may be able to save a little bit of time by not actually pitting for tyres. You can double stint these tyres in just under 2 hours. So let's see if anyone goes for a no tyre stop.
Well, I tell you what, man, they're just about out of energy, and we know what that is. That's like a 2-minute penalty, isn't it? It's ridiculously long if you run out of virtual energy. I think not only is your race over,
yeah,
but
so you could still have fuel in the tank, but if you run out of virtual energy, then you get a really big slap on the wrist.
Right. So I'm curious. Hughes got to be thinking he's coming. He's down the back straight. Who is that? That Winham. Cross it now. Eggman. Nope, those guys are staying out. So Smith that in front of him.
So I'm wondering whether that early pit stop was maybe for a little bit of damage from Bacon, because he came in relatively early compared to everybody else. And he had relatively the same virtual energy, so maybe he was just beating the rush, because there was probably going to be a flurry of activity when the GT3s do come in, with one pitting when their fuel was just about to run out. But maybe they're quite spaced out. It looks like Hugh Smith just coming down to the end of the lap, so we'll see whether he pops in this time. He's possibly going to go round again. Indeed he does.
Not quite yet, but holy smokes, he's down. He's cutting it close. Trying to find, who is that just ahead of them? Is that Jill? Yeah, okay, it's Jill. And back up more, so who is... chasing dots on the track map there, trying to place these guys. Anybody comes in.
Right, so Tony is right under the rear wing of Lewis Middleton now. The gap is under a second. So a good push for the final, just before the pit stops. I wonder if Lewis Middleton can actually deal with this pressure. Right. Having a very noisy Lexus right behind him just before he comes into the pits, and I wonder whether they're going to come in together as well.
Yeah, you see Tony's actually kind of lifting a little bit there, trying to not push him too much. He's kind of staying with him.
So you can stay with him through that really fast first sector of the lap. It doesn't seem to be too hard to stay under the rear wing, but this is where you've got to get a good exit onto the straight. So wide apex to that turn just before the straight. Lewis Middleton does take a little bit of a sausage curb now. See how much Tony can actually gain in the slipstream, or does that Mercedes have a bit more grunt? It's pulling away a little down the straight.
Yes, it is.
I don't know whether Tony is pulling out a little. Maybe temps are a problem, but maybe he's just trying to put Lewis off into the braking zone. 12. So he didn't seem to gain an awful lot. Maybe it's a tactic. I'm not too sure. Maybe he doesn't want to overtake just before the pit stops.
Well, these guys better think about bringing that sucker in. I mean, Hugh Smith, our leaders, at 6% remaining. Tony's got 7%.
So he's just gone around again.
Yeah. That's very dangerous.
So Lars Hagman as well has gone around, so they can make it this lap at least, but they are cutting it very, very fine.
You guys are going to go one more too. 7%, 6%, 8%. I don't want to lose drivers because they didn't realize that it's not the gas, it's the energy. It wouldn't be the first time.
It's always one of the hardest things to do in sim racing in general, because you are the driver and the engineer. So unless you've got someone in your ear, I mean, you've got all of the UI in front of you to tell you what your predicted lap times are, maybe when you need to come into the pits, but it's still, you need to do those calculations while you're still putting in these fast laps. So Westy is now in the pits, P2.
Pretty good, okay. I'm keeping my eye on Smith here. He's going to have to come in this lap. I don't know how much. It looks like it's about 3% per lap, maybe. He's got 4% left. 3.9 now. So he, if he doesn't pit this lap, it's going to be race over. I don't think he can make another lap.
So he's got about 17 seconds to the car behind, so he's not going to, there's not going to be a queue in the pit lane of GT3s, at least between first and second, so he should be able to make it around these few two corners and see what kind of pit stop time we're going to be doing.
Harper's in the pits in the P2. There he goes. Okay. So, leader, GT3 leader in. Let's see if Hagman follows that 17 second. He hasn't got much energy as well, so I would suggest...
He's going around again.
Oh my God, he's not going to make it. Do you think he's going to make it?
7%.
Oh, he'll make it then.
He probably will make it, I think. Yeah, I think Hugh Smith had a little bit of a little bit more, but he's going around again.
Let's check on Lewis.
Fastest lap in, I guess.
Lewis is coming in. Third.
And Tony Taviti right behind him.
Yeah, no, he's going to stay with that battle. I love that. That's good stuff. Yeah. Look at it. Boys in front of him there. And Pichler in.
Like Tony did overshoot his box a little, so that might have cost him a little bit of time getting dragged back into his box. But he did need to pit in front of a P2, which made it slightly awkward. Lewis Middleton had a clean run into his pit, so that's possibly meaning that he's not going to be able to pass as he comes out the pits, as it looks like Hugh Smith is coming out behind Bjorn Hagman.
Yes, Bjorn. Who's got
so
7.
Traffic.
Yeah, we got Lars and Bjorn, the Hagman brothers. Definitely both need to get into that pit. 5%, 6%.
So this is going to work out brilliantly for Lars Hagman. He's just coming down the back straight now. Hugh Smith came out stuck behind this Porsche with possibly cold tyres. So Bjorn Hagman doing his brother a massive favour here by perhaps holding this Mustang up on his outlap.
Yeah, look, he's frustrated, you can tell.
But again, Hugh Smith did have a margin of about 14 seconds when he came in, but it all adds up in the end. He may be able to gain some back in the late stages of this race, in through this pit stop phase.
He's looking for a way.
So Lars Hagman should be coming.
Oh, he's on the outside. Hey, brilliant move, but Hagman has the muscle, but there it is on the inside, and Hugh gets it done in the twisty section of this track. That is such a twisty, hardcore section. Meanwhile, Hagman is going around again.
Going around again.
Oh, this could cost him the race right here. He's only got 3.5%. I think it's about 3 per lap, so is that half of a percent going to get him in there? Or is he going to be our third retirement with penalty? Not only do you not finish the race, but they just spank you hard with the time penalty. Very curious here as we see Westy coming up on him now. Westy leading this race right now. That's over to Scabler after the pits. So he did gain pit stops. We might have to find the replay for that.
I was just looking at last lap times as well for Lars Hagman. 2:11.5, which is not quick. So I'm wondering whether, I'm looking down the lap time list. I suppose it's comparable to others, but still not down at the 2:09s.
I hope that he's lifting. Yeah, look at he's got to be saving fuel. Quarter throttle. He's down to 2%.
So perhaps trying something a little bit different. Obviously means that he'll have to put in less because he's stopping a bit later than Hugh Smith. But he was a little ways down.
He's in trouble, man. So he's only got 1% left. He's got 3 turns to go to get into that pit. He better coast. It's a dice roll at this point. Yeah, you better lift, Lars. Oh, is he gonna make it?
He can't hit a little bit too fine here.
Yeah. He can coast in from here. Oh man, he's at 0. Is that gonna give him a penalty?
So it says he's got 0.4%, so he's just gonna have to coast on the clutch.
Oh my gosh!
I think.
What a gamble for Lars. That was something else. So he made it in, it looks like.
So he had 20 seconds to Steve Smith when he came into the pits. Let's see if he's actually gained anything through this pit stop phase. He did have 14 seconds deficit.
Meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead. P2, the Scobbler challenging Westy back.
And Lars Hagman is away.
Good job, Lars. Wow. That was just cutting it close. Oh, we got contact, and the leaders go around. Contact with the leaders. What in the heavens to Betsy happened there? Stu Smith has gotten first place back. And now Westy just holding him off. Gobbler had the contact. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look from Matej's point of view. It was Robin Taylor sets the fastest lap there, 155. But let's see this contact here. Oh, that was coming out of the pit, so that's not the one I was looking for. I apologize. Should have the contact overtake. Okay, that was the overtake in the pits. So anyway, back to live.
It looks like as that all shaked out, Hugh Smith has not actually gained. He's probably lost just 1 second. I mean, Lars cut it very, very thin, coming down to the last percentage. I mean, I don't think we would know about penalties until right at the very end. But we'll have to find out whether he does get a slap on the wrist. But according to my screen, he had 0.4% left as he coasted into the pit, nearly missing his pit box. But it's now a half an hour scrap until the end.
Yeah, he's 13 seconds back. So like you said, he shaved a little bit off. And meanwhile, the third has got that lead over Talvitier at fourth place. Talvitier holding his own there.
That actually expanded. As I said, Tony had to pit in front of a P2, which meant he was had to be moved back into position to take his pit stop. And that was precious seconds. And now the gap has extended out to 8.5 seconds. And they came into the pits absolutely nose to tail. So Tony's got to do it all again.
Let's see. Yellow flag for Taylor. No, it was Matej. Matej got the yellow, lap 30. Let's see if this is it. We're going to jump back here. Desperately trying to find that contact that we saw. Well, at least we witnessed it live. Here we go. This should be it. Yep, this is Westy leading. Scobbler coming in. And he just goes off with a lag band. And then he's back. Wow, okay, so not much to be said there. I thought we were going to get a little more.
There was something dramatic about that happen.
I did. I was waiting for it and then nothing. But maybe that was why Westy had the contact. It might have been we were watching Westy. We didn't see the actual lag. But he's going to have to he-bush right on him. And now he's got that 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Hugh Smith, with that 14-second gap, is just growing. Check down with Lewis. Holding on to that last step of the podium. He's very comfortable there with that 6-second gap over Talvitier. Talvitier has charged. He has made his way through the field, though. He's up into fourth now in that roaring Lexus.
I was just noticing something on the timesheets around about the time of the pit stop. It does look like Pichler has got ahead of Robin Taylor, but Robin Taylor has been putting in some really fast laps in the last lap, 155.6. So the fastest lap of all in the P2 class. So he's found something out on track. I don't know if that was before he came into the pits or afterwards, but he's found a little bit of pace. But dropping off the back of Pichler, unfortunately. So I don't know if that was an accident or particular maybe damage in a pit stop that could have dropped him back.
Maybe, but we have a fuel victim here. De Silva is at 0%, and he is off the track. and he's parked it. He's going to have to take his medicine. Trying to get a view of him here. There he is. Off track, out of energy. De Silva. It says 0.4, so
yeah,
maybe something. Oh,
I think he runs in VR, doesn't he? So I wonder
yes.
whether it was maybe hard to see, or maybe he just it's easily done. Maybe he just forgot of how much he had left. But 0.4, and he was like, I think he was out on the back straight, so he had half a lap to go with 0.4%. So that's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, we saw Hagman pull it off. So maybe there was something else going on there too. And like you said, he is in VR, and sometimes VR gets really tricky, and you lose your menu, and what do? There's nothing you can do. So we got the two DNFs.
Still points for Gilles de Silva. I think that's 20 points. Ironically, that is the most points that Gilles de Silva has scored all season. So.
Right on. Yeah, he made it through to the last 25 minutes or so. Okay, the Scobelaire has gotten back to the bumper of Nick Westy here as they both swing it wide on that last turn, and they're racing down the straight now. Westy making a move to the inside to try and hold him off. Let's see what happens here. A hairpin turn one. And through these S's, it's going to be epic through the S's here.
So we saw that Dat Scobelaire, when he was out front, he had the pace to pull away from Nick Westy. So now the shoe is on the other foot, as they say. And now Dat Scobelaire has to do the chasing. So we saw that Nick Westy went a little defensive into turn one. That is a very wide entry into turn one. Can make it very, very awkward as they come across a lapped car, which I think they're going to pass just before turn 11 before the straight. So he's going to be right under the rear wings if he gets a good exit onto the straight. This might be a move down into turn 12. Nick Westy already goes defensive. So I'm feeling like that B2 of Dat Scobelaire is gaining too much.
I'm sure Westy's well aware that the pace of the Scobelaire from pole and everything, so he knows he's got his work cut out for him here. He can hold on through this tricky section.
It's merely just a 23-minute sprint, so what's the worst going to happen?
All right, as they're coming up. Oh, well, it can have that, a little bit of contact.
Yeah, slight lock-up coming into that wide entry turn in the last part of this lap. Again, going around another Mustang. There seems to be so many Mustangs on this track at the moment.
All right. There's 3 total, so yeah. 2 McLarens, 1 Mercedes, 1 Lexus, 1 Lambo, 1 Ferrari. All right, here it is.
I decided to go for the Aston Martin or the Corvette, unfortunately.
So that's what we can do. We can have a Corvette series, Corvette only.
And then and no one turns up.
Yeah. Right. I thought of a single class series would be pretty cool with any one of these LMU cars. Might be pretty. I mean, the Porsche would be, or a Ferrari challenge, you know, or Lambo challenge. A lot of potential there. If this battle is going to come on down, that's 22 minutes left. I don't think this this battle is going to be something. Look at, he is all over Westy. Westy just going defensive. Let's see if
he's able to stay with him through the first few twisties, but it's this vital place that he needs to be buried under that rear wing in order to get some kind of slipstream. And again, Nick Westy is slight weave on the back straight, a little bit naughty to try and break the toe. Doesn't want to do that near the braking zone, but
he's almost able to pull away.
Suffering.
I wonder if I know Westy, he probably has very little wing, and there might be a couple of degrees of wing difference between the 2 cars. But then the pace of the Scobelaire would say that no. I mean, the overall lap times. Who's got the best lap of the race right now? Robin Taylor in LMP2, 1:5.56. Well, 6 6.16 versus the 6.71 by Nick Westy. So just mere hundredth separating that one precious point for fastest lap in the race.
Oh, slightly wide for Nick Westy coming out of turn 19. Put him on the back foot coming out of 20.
Yeah, Matej just
So
looking
this
for the
is
spot.
Dax
This
Gobbler's
is
best chance
blocking
he's
again.
ever had.
He's staying with him this time. It's the Gobbler.
There's a car's width there. There is a car's width.
Whoa!
Just about.
Look at this. It's intense. And he pulls it off. Where'd Westy go? Yes, Westy on the inside. The Gobbler on the outside. Westy tried to come back. The Gobbler's got himself positioned, but not for this next one. We're going left right here with Westy in position. Oh, McScobbler pulls it off. This is really where he was quick all around, is in this first Sector 1 S's. And Descobbler gets around Nick Westy to take the lead of this race. Brilliant driving there.
That was absolutely judged to perfection.
Yes.
By Nick Westy. He was coming in very fine. He was pushing him all the way to the pit wall, but I think Descobbler did have the slightest bit of overlap. And Nick Westy possibly saw on his radar that there was a little bit of an overlap, and you don't really want to be going over someone's nose because that would have put him straight in the pit wall. But judged to perfection, that Scobbler knew how wide his car was, and he kept his foot in all the way to turn 1. And I didn't think he was actually going to get it stopped. And it was a bit hairy through those first few turns, but
that was just crazy.
Good racing by both of them.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. We've got a replay of that overtake here coming down the straight. So here they are, duking it out down the straight. Westy positioning himself, holding off. The Scobbler on the inside, just off the wall. Westy giving him just enough room, and then he swings it wide. This is where he gets the advantage. The Scobbler just gets the hole inside, but then he throws for the over-under, does Westy. Almost pulls it off, but the Scobbler's got position already, and just the muscle of that car coming here. Westy, one shot left right there, and that was it. There was your overtake for the lead. So some really good stuff going on there. And during all that,
it looks like on the sheets, Andrew Harper has possibly got a drive-through for track limits violations.
Yeah, let's see the replay of Andrew here. He was looking fine. He's looking good.
Just cutting it a little bit too fine over those caps.
It's probably, I mean, there's 5. You're allowed 5 in this. So, oh yeah, right there. That was crossed both lines. Stewards did not like that, and they gave him a drive-through for that. Sure. Not his finest moment, but unfortunately, it was probably the last straw out of the 5 that you get. And that might have counted was one right there, too. So anyway, that explains that. All right, back to the action. So
Tony Salviti has been putting in those laps. He's now 2.5 seconds behind Middleton for third. So that gap is coming down after the pit stops. So Middleton has got to be watching his mirrors again. It was the end of the pit stop stint, the first stint, where he had a mirror full of a Lexus and the sound of the Lexus as well. And he's going to have a mirror full of Lexus in about 5 laps time, I think.
These guys shaping up here. There's your battle for the podium. It's Salviti just outside the podium now. And the drive-through for Harper, that's most unfortunate. Wonder if he's going to be serving it here. Coming around. Or even knows he has it. I'm sure he does. No, he is going in to serve it now. So there is taking care of that. Meanwhile, Pichler holding on to the podium. 3rd position. Let's see, where is any battles? He's got 13 seconds on Taylor. So he's well in position to get very good podium points once again for this final race.
Yeah, it seems like Robin Taylor had that little bit of flurry of fast laps in the either just before or just after that pit stop phase, but hasn't been able to rein in Pichler.
Hanging on there. Meanwhile, the pointy end of the GT3 is just a drive through Texas. He could pull up to get some to-go barbecue at this rate. Get himself some pulled pork, or some ribeye, some baked bean. All that Texas stuff. Second place GT3, your third place GT3, Middleton in the Merc. After that brilliant start. And there's Tony trying to hunt him down in this last 15 minutes of racing here. The leaders are coming through. So, as you said before, Matej just had that gap. And look at what it is now with the traffic Westy. Getting through Calvitier there. So, like you said, at Westy...
Looking at the... sorry, Rob.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, Westy probably spent everything he had in defense there.
Yeah, I was just looking at positions gained. I wasn't sure where Hugh Smith was on the grid, but it's saying from this he gained 2 positions. So 2 positions all the way to the lead. And not to be beaten by Middleton that came up 1 place. I did think that Middleton gained more places than that off the start, because he seemed to be like an absolute rocket from absolutely nowhere. But Smith gaining places to actually be dominant out front in race pace.
Yeah, it's a brilliant run by Hugh Smith. Definitely very comfortable at this circuit. There is your P2 leader. And there is the gap back to Westy. So since he's gotten around him, Scobbler's flexing his muscles once again. Looking for any tight battles here in the GT3s. I think we have this Calvitier and Middleton battle going on. Got a couple other guys. Where's Bjorn? 5th place. See where his gap is. Yeah, he's got 20-something seconds on Hagman. The other Hagman is... Looks like Westy's coming through now. Trying to find any gaps. Here we go. BTH is able to close up, but then here comes the P2s again. See, there's BTA. You can hear that Lexus. Holy smokes. And is that Robin Taylor right there? No, is it Pitchler? Yeah, it's Pitchler. Going to the outside. So let's check on Ollie in the Ferrari. Currently in 7th place. Having a good run. Having a little battle with Wenham, so these guys are battling for position here. Belvey still in the garage. Bateson trying to hold off that board of Stefan Wenham, just that all that horsepower. Back to Tony. You can see Lewis up there, but just can't seem to cut into that 2-second gap there. Uh-oh, what's going on with Harper? Yellow flag for Harper.
Around at turn 1 there.
Lost it, didn't he? He's back in it. Back in it. Calvitier can just, if there's anything he can do, he's got it under 2 seconds now, so he is slowly gaining. And yet here comes another P2 to spoil the fun. Looking out the back of Lewis Middleton's Mercedes, you can see Tal VTA back there.
So I always find it very, I was going to say easy, but it's easier when you have someone to chase. If you can see the car for position that you're gauging your pace against, it's easier to perhaps go a little bit faster, eke out those sectors, and pull a gap or rein somebody in fact. So you can see that Mercedes not too far away. It's just those P2s keep getting in the way, but that gap is stable around 2 seconds or so.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. If perhaps Middleton gets a little stuck up over the P2 up there. Doesn't seem to be slowing him down any. And there he goes. Oh, we kind of lost it a little bit there. Had to stay back. Robin Taylor. And there he goes.
So Andrew Harper's in the pits again. I wonder if he did actually nerf the wall a little. So he's perhaps fixing a little bit of damage.
Well,
or maybe flat spotted tyres when he did spin around, because that wouldn't have been comfortable.
Here's a replay of Andrew. Let's see what happened. Let's see if we can get answers to these questions. A little bit of outbreak there. He's off and around. Yeah, okay. Does he hit anything? Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's got a little bit of damage there. He's probably in to fix as he comes back out. Right on. All right. Wow, Tony. Ooh, Pitchler with the fastest lap of the race. That's the point right there. If it can hold on for this last 8 minutes, 1:55.57. Lap by Phillip.
Yeah, it's fastest lap by about a tenth per second. So it's those top three in the 155, actually top four in the 155. So they're able to put in that fastest lap. And I'm guessing Pitchler has now decided, right, we've only got 8 minutes to go. I've been saving tyres, maybe. And he's pushing on to get that extra bonus point.
Tony just pushing that Lexus. Trying to find a place.
We spoke a bit.
Go ahead.
I spoke a bit about what these guys are doing for championship. They have being engineers for their fuel, but imagine they're in a championship battle and they've got to calculate the points on the fly as well. You know, where do I need to finish in order to, you know, stay on the podium or perhaps win this championship? Maybe they've done those calculations beforehand, like I have with the spreadsheet, and they know where to push and when to hold back. But perhaps Pitchler's just doing as much as he can on that last podium place with that extra bonus point.
Glad to see Harper back out on track. Get through the Lars Herdman. Just holding on to that podium is Lars. He had a very consistent race with Middleton still on the podium with Tony threatening. He's got about just under 7 minutes to make a difference here, and it looks like he has caught him.
I don't know if something happened with the P2 that caught him in the wrong place, but Lewis Middleton has now got that Lexus, the noisy Lexus, within a second. He went really defensive down the back straight, trying to break the toe, going all the way to the inside. It's an interesting strategy because he's going to have dirt on his tyres as well. He had that really hard braking zone down into 12. But maybe he just needs to clean his tyres up in this the last section of the lap, pull out that gap again. So whenever Tony's within a second, I think you start having to worry. There is only 6 minutes to go. That's about three and a half laps.
Be a good. The Flying Finn is doing that driver stuff. They're able to close up somewhat in the twisties a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Replace Pichler, getting through traffic. Robin Taylor's got a...
Lovely view.
I'm sorry.
Lovely view as they come across the crest, and you can see the flag and the tower in the background.
Yeah, that's a good
Such a
shot.
good camera view.
Right. So he's got it down to half a second.
So Middleton went all the way to the inside to defend last time, but maybe he doesn't feel like he needs to. Maybe mixing it up a little. You don't want to give your opponents the exact script that you're going to be running to. But Tony wasn't really close enough to do anything. Tony perhaps wants to be jinking out at the last minute on some of these wide entry corners, just to put Lewis off on some of these braking zones. He's just going to take one lock tyre, and that means an extra half second that he can gain. But he's closing in this latter section of the lap. But maybe that Mercedes power is just a little bit too much in some of the faster sections of this lap. So we saw that there was a slight question over whether the lead would come down a little over the pit stop phase in the GT3s, but that gap between first and second hasn't really gone down. If anything, it's gone up. It's now 17 seconds, which is quite substantial. Hugh Smith has pretty much dominated this race from lap 1. He was behind at the start. Lewis Middleton was able to get past, but he was able to dispatch that Mercedes quite quickly, and since then he's just been able to pull away about a second or half a second a lap, and he's doing a really good job. Same with the P2s. That Scobler got out front and didn't really look back until through the pit stop phase. Nick Westy was able to overtake, but that Scobler bided his time and was able to pull off a great move into turn 1. Hairy for a moment. I held my breath. I don't know about you, Rob.
Right, that was when they were up against the wall coming up the hill. I think, oh man, really, really good on both drivers keeping it real. And then Westy did actually move to the right to give him a fair chance. As we are under 3 minutes, and Tony is under half a second now.
There we go. I think that Lewis maybe feels like now is the defense.
Yes, he pulls all the way to the left side, back out to make for the apex. And Tony just putting the pressure on him now.
He's running out of laps and running out of time, so he's not actually gone for a move. Maybe he feels like he's far too far back. Maybe he's thinking of pouncing in the last section of this race.
He's got to him now.
Catch your opponent by surprise. He's taking wider lines than the Mercedes, so I think he's putting him on the back foot. He's just setting him up for perhaps a last lap challenge.
Oh boy, here we go. Coming out of the last turn here. Minute 30 to go. This will be the last lap for these guys, I would assume, unless Matej and them. Now, where is Matej?
He's just coming through the lap turn 18. He's getting towards. He should get before the line just before the clock runs down, but that would mean that this will be the leader's last lap.
Yes.
So there'll be one more lap for the GTs, I think.
And Matej just crossed that line, so here we go. We are on the white flag with a minute left. So back to this battle. What can Tony do? Can he get him? These guys will get to go one more time, I think, right? They're going to cross the line before the P2, so there'll be one more lap as well.
Unless the leader can catch them before the finish, He's only a few corners away.
Right, and he's closing
So
fast.
if the leader catches them before the finish, then they won't be doing another lap. And I think they might get caught. So this might be their last lap. It's going to be close.
Who's going to do it? Is Tony going to be able to make that? Is Lewis going to be able to hold him off? So far, so
looking at
good.
their relative. This is the first time that Tony's actually gone for maybe putting him off in his mirrors there.
Yeah, he went outside a little bit.
The icon of first place, he's about one corner behind. So this is probably going to be vital, depending on whether these guys get another lap and one more chance. And I'm wondering if they are watching their mirrors as well.
Well, Tony's hoping for another lap.
Very close.
I think Tony has another lap. He might have him. Look, he's got to the inside right there. Oh, the pressure's on. Gabelair. Still have to turn behind. I think they're going to make it through.
Yeah, so they're going to get to turn 18 before the getting lapped. Turn 19, 20. Yeah, so this will be one more lap for them as the leader is coming to the last corner.
Here it comes, your leader. This is going to be your race winner for round 8 at COTA. Matej Jaskelar takes the checkered flag with Nick Westy some 12 seconds back. And there is your second place. Pichler right there with him. So they had a pretty good race for third as Pichler takes third. Taylor's going to take fourth. Still a little gap behind, but the race we're looking for now, Andrew Harper's going to get fifth. And Hugh Smith coming up on the Ferrari
Tony has one final chance. He's really close coming out onto the short straight section up to turn 12. It's as close as he's ever been. I wonder if he's actually fancies a chance up to the straight.
Oh, Middleton's blocks.
Middleton goes defensive, which means he's going to be shallow coming onto the straight, which might give Tony a bit of a switchback. He's going to be as close as he's ever been. Let's see if he can actually overtake coming up to the braking zone for 12. This is good stuff for the last lap. It always comes down to the last couple of laps, and he goes for a move for the first time. Lewis takes him all the way to the inside.
Oh, he's cool.
Can he outbrake him down?
Oh,
he does. He breaks him down into turn 12.
Salvizier takes the podium away from Middleton with a few turns left, but in the meantime, here is your winner, GT3 winner right there. Lars coming in second. But these guys are fighting to the end here. There is second place. Let's get back to this battle because now Tony, brilliant move on the end there. That was something else. Very nicely done.
Yeah, it's got two corners to go. Lewis does fancy a chance of getting back onto the podium, but we've got 19 here. Tony goes a little bit wide, but no particular driver. He's going to have to outbrake down the inside.
He set up. He's turning inside. Is it going to be a drag race to the
Tony
finish?
a little bit
Tony goes wide. It's going to be a proto finish, and it looks like Lewis has pulled it off and gotten back onto the podium. Holy smokes. Did you see that?
Absolutely stunning.
That was amazing. Oh my gosh. Let's see if that'll...
I didn't think by going through turn 19 he didn't have a bit much of an overlap, but Tony saw him in his mirror in turn 20 and left him the space, which meant that he ran a little bit wide, and the finishing line comes very quickly at COTA.
Yes.
So he wasn't able to get the momentum off the corner, and Lewis pipped him by
that little bit of fishtail there just kind of cost him. Wow, what a finish. That was something else, man. Holy smokes, what a race. So, let's see. Where is my app here? I got to capture. Nicely done. There are your leaders. There is your winner. I am going to... I know the game is going to close out there. So there we go.
Right, so I think that Pichler did get the bonus point for fastest lap in the end. So that works in his favour. So I do have some provisional points when you finish with the rundown.
Right on. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of that back screen back there. Maybe we will go to round image. There we go. That should hide the back, but I don't want this. Yeah, we can't really get our shot here of this finisher. So next page, you can see that brilliant start. Middleton put himself out front, and then yeah, that was crazy. Next page. Simon Bacon 11th, Oli Batson, Stefan Wenham, Gilles de Silva, Tanner Sebring. Those are the tail enders. So here is the previous. Let's go to the LMP2s. Mataj, Nick Westy, Philip Pichler, Robin Taylor, Andrew Harper, Tanner Selvey, and then your GT3s here with Hugh Smith. With just what a run by Hugh. I mean, from green to checkered, he took the whole thing. Lars, Lewis, Tony, great racing all the way. Tony with that brief podium spill for about, 3 turns or so. And then it was back to Lewis Milton with a beautiful over-under move on the last turn with that little bit of fishtail that kind of caught Tony out there. Otherwise, yeah, I think it would have been something else. Good battles. They have that first overtake with Tony. Was something else. Yeah, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. What an interesting race that was. What a race. The finish was great. We have more finishers than we've ever had for the P2 class. So yeah, job well done by everybody.
Maybe COTA has earned a few fans this time around.
Yeah, perhaps. Let's hope so.
So these drivers, as I said at the start, these drivers are going for the championship for this series, but they are also, it's aggregate points for the incoming rounds of what will be a 4-series championship, so the World Series. This is the first round of it. So our top 5 will technically be top 5 of each class will be top 5 in the World Series points. So we have to get those aggregates to you the next round too.
Yeah, that will be something else. We'll keep you guys informed on that, and keep an eye on the podium. We'll be putting, on the podium on the website to make sure that we get everything sorted in order. We still have votes going on for if we're going to have the hypercar next time or not. So the polls need to be active so we can get that settled. And wow, what a great race today. That was certainly very entertaining. And lots of lead changes there. Well, a couple of them anyway. But that start by Middleton was brilliant. And then the finish by Middleton was also brilliant. So the driver of the day, vote yourself for driver of the day. I mean, it might have been, besides the guys that just ran away with it, Hugh Smith with an excellent drive, but some really, really good battles going on there in the field. So, hey, it's been a lot of fun for me and Woody on behalf of us at Sim Racing Online. Thanks, everybody, for staying with us. Anybody that made it through this far, congratulations to you for hanging on. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next one. And check the website for details on Series 2, which will be starting in about 3 weeks, I believe. So we got a little bit of a recess in between. And until then, I wish you good luck and have happy trails. And that's it for us from Sim Racing Online. So we will see you on the next one.